Welcome to the world of lawnmower maintenance.
Alright, welcome to Alright, What's Next? Today we're going to discuss seasonal lawnmower maintenance. We're going to change the oil, sharpen the blade, and as a bonus feature we're also going to change out a leaking axle seal on this Cub Cadet XT1. Seasonal maintenance, you need to change your oil every year. Sharpening the blade should probably be done several times over the year. If you don't sharpen your blade, you're not cutting the grass, you're just beating it into submission. Now I know you're probably sitting there in your apartment complex in the middle of the city going, Mark, how does this video even apply to me? I don't own a Cub Cadet, I got a John Deere. Well, this isn't supposed to be a comprehensive step-by-step instructional video for your particular lawnmower. It's just a general overview of lawnmower maintenance that needs to be done on all lawnmowers. Every lawnmower will need to have its oil changed and its blade sharpened, unless you have an electric. If you got an electric, you still have to sharpen the blade. So, first thing we got to do, we're going to take this mower deck off, get it out of the way, that way we can get the blades out from underneath of it. But once the mower deck's off, then we'll go ahead and tackle changing the oil first. So let's get that done. Alright, first thing, to get the mower deck off, there is a belt guard right here that has to be removed. To get it off, there's an 8mm bolt. Take that out. Once that comes out, this belt guard will pull out, drop down, and it'll come off on the other side. So let's take that off. Just falls out. Set it up on there. Take your bolt, put it over in the beer holder on the other side so you don't lose it. Alright, now that that's out of the way, the belt will just come off the pulley, and then there's 3 clips. There's one here, and one here, and one on the other side. And then it'll drop down, and then we've got a spring to disconnect, and then the deck will just come right out. To take them clips off, we just got to get a needle nose pliers. One, throw it in the drink holder so you don't lose it. 2, 3. It's also a good idea to lower your deck down to the lowest level so the wheels are on the ground. Then it wouldn't have dropped like that. Then you just pull the different brackets loose. Alright, get that spring off. There is another clip way up in here. This is kind of the pain in the ass one. The spring out. Now the deck can just slide out from under. get the oil out of this thing, right here is the drain hose. It's just clipped to the side of the frame. So you do, you just get the clip loose, pull your drain hose out. That way you can point it down at the pan. Then you need a 19 millimeter and a 24 millimeter wrench. Hold on to one end there. Crack your drain hose loose. And you just let it start draining. While it's draining, we can get the filter off. So you just flip your hood open. Your filter is right there. So, filter wrench. It's just a little slip jaw filter wrench that'll work for this. You can get little band wrenches. There's a multitude of different type of filter wrenches. This is just happens to be the one that I like to use. This can be a little messy. Once the filter comes off, it has a tendency of dripping down. It'll hit the frame. You'll have to wipe it off. Pull your filter, drop it in the pan, let it drain. Now we just sit here, let this fully drain out. Alright, while that oil's draining, we can go ahead and slap on the new filter. I got new oil filter. These Cub Cadets run a Kohler brand engine, so I went ahead and got the Kohler genuine part oil filter to replace it. With your oil filter, you've got a little rubber O-ring on here. You want to lube that up with some oil before you screw it in. I got actual Cub Cadet motor oil. You don't have to. That's just what they had on the shelf when I bought my oil filter, because I get it from buy my filter and oil from the same store I bought the tractor. But this is just a 10W30 motor oil. Any motor oil will do. I didn't want to make a second trip over to the parts store to go get a different brand of motor oil. They always got a little seal on there. So take your trusty pocket screwdriver. Everybody should have one of them. Pop the seal open, and then just dump a little bit of oil on there. Take your finger, rub it around on the seal till it's damp with some oil, and then we'll screw her back on. Alright, you don't want to use the wrench to tighten it down. If you get the thing too tight, you'll never get it back off of there. So, just more or less hand tight. If your hands aren't strong enough to do it, go ahead and put the wrench on there and give it a little quarter of a turn. Just to tighten it just slightly. That's all there is to that. Alright, the oil is finally completely drained, so beer break is over. So reward yourself by getting another beer. Let's put the plug back in, then we can refill it. These are plastic plugs, so don't over tighten it, you'll just break them. Stick clip back in, snap it back in place. Oil's changed. So, this particular engine takes just a little over 1.5 quarts. So, let's go ahead and refill it. We'll just dump this one straight in. Let me get a funnel so I don't make a huge frickin' mess. Right here's where you fill the oil. It's also how you check the oil. Pull that out, set it aside, get a funnel in, Dump the oil in. Alright, now you gotta be careful. Dump about half of it in. Start the engine. That way it'll fill the oil filter. And then recheck and then check the level. We're not going to start the engine at the moment with the blade off. We'll check the level lever. Alright, we got half of that in there. Now you can check it now and see how close you are. That filter isn't going to take a great deal of oil. Yeah, once it runs, that should actually, because it's just slightly over the full line, so once it runs it'll fill up this filter and it'll take a little bit of that oil out of there and we'll get it right down to where we need it. Alright, with the oil changed, something I should have probably done first, let's pull the battery out of this thing. We'll get it taken over, put it on a turbocharger, because we got to have the battery out anyways, because the fill port for the rear axle is underneath the battery cage. So we'll pull this battery out, set it aside, get it charging, and then we'll tackle the blades. We'll start sharpening them. Alright, here's the mower deck. Right now is a good time to go ahead and clean the top of it off and inspect your belt for damage, because if the belt breaks you got to take the deck back off and redo it. I've already gone through and looked at it. It is in pretty good condition. It's good enough that I'm not going to warrant changing it at this point in time. It might break on me halfway through the season. That's alright. I'll also go through and just get all this old grass clippings and shit off of it from last season. This is really good because usually it's interspersed with dry dog shit, so it's got a good odor to it. These mower decks come equipped with a cleaning nozzle. Right here you can clip a hose onto, let the dogs shoot it up. Okay, now just go ahead and flip it over and we'll have a look at the blades. They are pretty beat to shit. We'll get these blades off. We'll get a putty knife in here and we'll clean up this mower deck. So, let's find a socket for my impact. These take a 15/16. I get my Harbor Freight brand electric impact out. All my nice expensive air impacts are at work. You can do this without an impact. You just got to keep this blade from turning. You got to get something down in here to block it, so that when you go to apply torque to this, that it won't spin on you. If you're doing this on a push mower and the blade is still attached to your mower, even though it has built-in safety features that are supposed to keep it from starting, disconnect the spark plug. Especially if you bought the mower secondhand. If you bought it secondhand, you never know what somebody might have done. They might have disconnected and disabled the safety feature on it to where you can start it without pulling that stupid little handle. Unless you woke up in the morning, it's like, on my checklist is to lose my hands, I would recommend disconnecting the spark plug. But we're not hooked up to the lawnmower, so we can just spin this off. Baling twine. That stuff is awesome. It gets into everything. I'm sure it's a problem everybody has if they're riding lawnmower, dealing with baling twine. So let's get a putty knife and we'll clean this thing out. Alright, that's pretty good. Time to sharpen blades. Alright, sharpen the blades. We need an angle grinder. You might remember this one from how to freaking grind out a flag video. You notice, I don't know how well you can see that, but your blade's got a bevel edge on there. We're just going to clean this up, put a nice little edge on it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to like you're going to shave with it or anything. But you want it to be relatively sharp, or you can, hack a zombie's head open with it. So let's sharpen it. You want safety glasses and hearing protection, because this will be loud. I can't find my hearing protection, so I'll just protect my eyes and screw my hearing. Alright, now the blades are sufficiently sharp, we can put them back on. This is probably going to be the last season for these blades. I'll have to buy new ones next year. They've been pretty well ground down. There is a top and a bottom to it, and you can tell the difference. You can see on this side of the blade, that fits over, and you can see on this side of the blade how much bigger that is. That goes over top of this side. Put it on there. Spin that on. Grab your other blade. You want to offset your blades on your mower. That way they don't smash into each other. Alright, if you look up in here, you can see how that's all kind of dark and oil covered. It should be like that one, just aluminum. So we got to change out that axle seal. So the first thing we got to do, get this thing jacked up, and we got to get this tire off. Alright, let's find a couple of jack stands we can put this guy on. Alright, here's a little trick. Since we're going to be changing a seal on this side, have this jack stand slightly higher than that side. That way when you lower it down, it'll put it at a little bit of an angle and you'll get less oil dumping out onto the floor. It's like that. Alright, So let's pull this tire off. It's got this little plastic hubcap in there. You just get behind it with a pry bar, pop it loose. Tire off. We got a spacer in here. Take that off. We'll clean that. Throw that in the rim right there. And we got the seal right up inside of there. So we got to pop that guy out of there. Let's get a drain pan underneath of it, just in case it makes a mess. Alright. We got to get that seal out of there, so I think what I'm going to do, we're just going to run a screw directly into it. That'll give you something to bite on. Oh. Well, the inside came out. Let's see if we can get this outside to pop loose. There we go. Alright, that's out. So now we'll clean up the race and we'll slap the new seal in. Before installing a new seal, it's always a good idea to go ahead and lube the inner and outer diameters of it before you install it. So you just get the oil that you're going to use in it. This is Cub Cadet hydraulic transmission fluid, and we'll put just a little bit on there. Here's the new seal. I got a set of them. They're like 12 bucks off of eBay. Oh, slopped it. Damn it. So you just get some on your finger, lube up the inner and outer diameters, and then you slide it on, and then we'll tap it in. What we're going to use to tap it in, we're just going to use the large end of an extension. I don't have a seal driver for it. Okay, get it in there close. Might have to drop to a little smaller. Alright, that's fully seated. So now we can reassemble. What we want to do, let's go ahead and get some brake clean, and we'll clean that guy up real quick before we put it back in there. We're a little wiped down. get yourself some brake clean. This this particular brand is wicked flammable, so don't be smoking around it or anything. And then just hit it a little bit. It's probably not a bad idea to wear gloves, but I've been doing this crap forever and I don't even notice the chemical burns anymore. Wipe her down a little bit, slide your spacer on, then we're ready to put the tire back on, and then we got to refill it. That's the biggest chore of this particular project, is refilling it. To refill this thing, way down in here is the fill port. To get to it, we got to take the battery tray out, which is just two little metal strips. You just turn them to the side. They pop up out of there. Out of the way. Look, right down in there, right there is the fill cap. So we got to get that out, and then we need a nice long funnel and refill it. Now the hydraulic fluid is relatively thick, so it takes a long time to fill. So we'll get that plug out of there and then we'll fill this guy. Alright, got it. They can't make things simple by just having a thread in fill port. They gotta have a two-part rubber plug. One part is a vent cap, the other part is your actual plug. So you pop the freaking cover off of it, then you pop the plug out, and it's a pain in the ass. Now that that's out, now we can put the funnel down in there and fill the damn thing. Alright, now you just gotta painstakingly slow pour this shit in. Depending on how empty it is, it could take most of this gallon. Alright, let's slide this deck back into position. This is probably the crappiest part of it, is trying to get that one spring back in place and getting that clip in. Other than that, it's pretty easy, but that one spring is a mother. It'll piss you off like there's no tomorrow. So, let's get angry. Right here is the pisser offer spring. It's going to go into this slot right here. Alright, so we got the deck back up underneath it here. It's up in its the tracks back here. It's just a matter of picking the deck up, sliding the tabs through here. Spring's on. Now we gotta go ahead and put the belt on and put it up on its front hanger and reinstall the clips and put the belt guard back on. Alright, now we'll put some fuel in it. With these Cub Cadets, you're supposed to run this in your fuel. It prevents ethanol damage. I don't know what the hell that means, but they say if you don't run this in your fuel and something goes wrong with the engine, they can tell and they will void the warranty. So before you go ahead and dump fuel in, put this in. It's 1 ounce per 5 gallons. It gives you mixing instructions. But dump that in your fuel first. This has got one of them new fangled stupid ass safety nozzles that you're supposed to turn the thing and push in on the nozzle to let it release, and I fucking hate them. I think they're the stupidest goddamn design ever. You can't get fuel out of them. They're a pain in the ass to use. So I took mine off and I ran a drill through it and I took out all that stupid venting shit so you can actually just pour fuel. Alright. All right, that's seasonal lawnmower maintenance. Don't forget to go ahead and click subscribe, turn on notifications. Whoa, pet your dog. I'll see you next time. Don't forget, subscribe. Bye.